I've lived a long time, seen a lot of things, done a lot of things. Most of them I survived. I rode horses before I could write my name, shot a rifle before I learned to read, saw things no child should see, did things no woman was supposed to do. I'm not proud of all of it, but I'm not ashamed either. I did what I had to do to survive. That's what you did back then. You survived or you didn't. There wasn't much in between, but there's one thing that stays with me. One thing I see when I close my eyes at night. One thing I can't forget no matter how hard I try. And it's been 70 years. 70 years and I still see it clear as day. Clear as if it happened yesterday. I think about it often, more now than I used to. When you get old, the past comes back stronger, sharper. Things you thought you'd forgotten come back in the middle of the night, wake you up, make you remember what it was like, what it really was like. Not the stories people tell now, not the romantic nonsense they write in books. The truth, the real truth about what it meant to be a child in the Wild West. I was born in 1864, April, spring on the plains. My mother said I came early, 2 weeks early, born in a covered wagon somewhere between Missouri and Colorado Territory. We were heading west. Everyone was heading west back then, looking for land, looking for gold, looking for something better than what they had. My father had heard about homesteading, free land if you could work it, 160 acres, all yours if you could prove up on it, build a house, farm the land, stay for 5 years. It sounded like a dream, like a chance to own something, to be something. We weren't the first family to believe that dream, weren't the last either. I was the second child, had an older sister, Mary, 3 years older than me. Then came my younger brother Samuel, born 2 years after me. Then another brother, William, and a sister, Ruth. 5 of us total by the time I was 8 years old. Mary and I were close when we were young. Had to be. Only had each other most of the time. We shared everything. A bed, clothes, chores, secrets. You know how sisters are, or maybe you don't. Maybe you grew up in a city with neighbors and friends and other children to play with. We didn't have that. Didn't have neighbors for miles. Didn't have other children. Just each other and the endless prairie and the sky that went on forever. We settled in Colorado Territory, Eastern Plains, flat land, dry land, hard land. Father built a sod house. That's what everyone built out there. No trees for lumber, no money for boards shipped from back east. So you cut blocks of sod, dirt and grass roots all packed together, stacked them up like bricks, made walls 3 feet thick. The house was small, 1 room, maybe 12 feet by 14 feet. All 7 of us lived in that 1 room, cooked in it, ate in it, slept in it, spent winters huddled in it, trying to stay warm. The walls were dirt, the floor was dirt, the roof was sod too, laid over poles. When it rained, the roof leaked. Mud would drip down for days after a storm. We'd put pots and pans under the worst spots. Listen to the dripping all night. Everything smelled like dirt. Our clothes, our hair, our skin. You could never get fully clean. We'd wash in a basin with water we carried from the creek a 1/4 mile away, but the dirt was everywhere, in everything, part of everything. People today, they don't understand what that was like, living in a house made of dirt, sleeping on the floor because we didn't have beds, didn't have much of anything. A table Father made from scrap wood, a few crates for chairs, a trunk with our clothes, a cast iron pot for cooking, a rifle. That was about it. That was everything we owned. We were poor, desperately poor, but we didn't know it. Everyone out there was poor. That was just how it was. Father worked the land, tried to farm, tried to grow wheat, corn, anything that would grow. But the land was hard. The soil was thin. The rain didn't come when you needed it, came too much when you didn't. Hailstorms would destroy a whole crop in 10 minutes. Grasshoppers would eat everything green in sight. Prairie fires would sweep across the land and burn everything. Some years we had a crop. Most years we didn't. Those years, Father would work for other people. Ranchers mostly. Fixing fences, breaking horses, whatever work he could find. He'd be gone for weeks sometimes. Leave Mother alone with 5 children in a sod house and 100 tasks that needed doing every day. Mother worked harder than anyone I've ever known. Worked from before sunrise to after dark every single day. Cooked over an open fire in the summer, a small stove in the winter. Made all our clothes by hand, washed them in creek water, mended them when they tore, made soap from lard and lye, made candles from tallow, churned butter, baked bread, tended the garden, hauled water, gathered buffalo chips for fuel since there was no wood. Buffalo chips, that's dried buffalo dung. You'd walk out on the prairie with a sack and collect them. Pile them up by the house, burn them for heat and cooking. That's what we used. That's what everyone used. It burned slow, didn't smell as bad as you'd think, but it was still burning dried manure to keep warm, and we children helped, had to. There was too much work for Mother to do alone. Mary and I did chores from the time we could walk, hauling water, collecting buffalo chips, watching the younger children, feeding the chickens, gathering eggs, weeding the garden, mending clothes, cooking, cleaning. There was no childhood like children have now, no playing, no toys, no time for games or fun or being a child. You worked. That's what you did. You worked or your family suffered. I remember being 7 years old, carrying buckets of water from the creek. The buckets were almost as big as me, heavy, so heavy my arms would shake, but I'd carry them, back and forth, 6 trips, 8 trips, however many it took to fill the barrel by the house. Every day, every single day, Mary would help, we'd take turns. She'd carry 2 buckets, then I'd carry 2, then she'd go again. We'd sing sometimes, songs Mother taught us, hymns mostly. It made the work go faster, made it feel less hard. But it was hard, everything was hard. Winter was the worst. Winter on the plains was brutal. Cold like you can't imagine, wind that cut through everything, blizzards that would last for days, snow piled up higher than the house. We'd be trapped inside, all 7 of us in that one room, for weeks sometimes. We'd huddle together for warmth, burn every buffalo chip we had, wear every piece of clothing we owned, wrap ourselves in blankets, and still we'd be cold. So cold your bones ached, so cold you couldn't feel your fingers or toes. Food ran low in winter. We'd ration everything, eat once a day sometimes, twice if we were lucky, mostly cornmeal mush, beans if we had them, a little salt pork if Father had shot a rabbit, or if we'd saved some from the fall. I remember being hungry, constantly hungry, that hollow feeling in your stomach that never quite goes away, learning to ignore it, learning to not think about food, learning to be grateful for whatever you got. People died in winter, neighbors, other homesteaders. You'd hear about it in the spring. The Johnson family lost their baby. The Millers lost 2 children. The Hansons abandoned their claim and went back east. just packed up what they could carry and left everything else behind. We were lucky. We all survived. All 5 children made it through every winter. Mother used to say it was a miracle, said God was watching over us. Maybe he was. Or maybe we were just tougher than most, stubborner, more willing to endure what needed to be endured. School was something that happened when it could. There was a school about 5 miles from our place, a sod building even smaller than our house. 1 room, 1 teacher, students ranging from age 5 to 17. When the weather allowed and when we could be spared from chores, Mary and I would walk there. 5 miles each way, 10 miles total. We'd leave before sunrise, get there when school started at 8, stay until 3, then walk home. Get home after dark in the winter. We'd walk together, Mary and me, through prairie grass taller than we were, past prairie dog towns, past rattlesnakes sunning themselves on rocks, through heat in the summer that made the air shimmer, through cold in the winter that froze our fingers even through mittens. We carried our lunch, cornbread usually, sometimes a piece of salt pork, a jar of water. That was it. We'd eat it at noon sitting on the ground outside the school. I learned to read at that school, learned to write, learned arithmetic. The teacher was a young woman from St. Louis. She'd come west to teach, lived with a family in town, came out to the school every day on horseback. She was kind, patient. She'd teach us letters and numbers, read to us from books. Books were precious out there. The school had maybe 10 books total. We'd read them over and over. I can still remember some of those stories. McGuffey's Readers, the Bible, a worn copy of Aesop's Fables. But I only went to school for 3 years, from age 7 to 10. That was all the schooling I got. After that, Mother needed me at home, needed help with the younger children, needed help with the endless work. Mary had to quit too. We both did. That was just how it was. Education was a luxury. Survival came first. By the time I was 10, I could do most anything an adult could do. Could cook a meal from scratch, could sew a dress, could hitch a wagon, could shoot a rifle, could kill and clean a chicken, could birth a calf, could deliver a baby if I had to. I had to grow up fast. We all did. There was no time for childhood, no time for innocence. You saw things, hard things, violent things, death and blood and suffering, and you learned to accept it, learned to not look away, learned to do what needed doing, no matter how hard it was. I was 11 the first time I saw a man die, a neighbor, Mr. Peterson. He'd been thrown from his horse, landed wrong, broke his neck. He died right there on the ground. Took maybe 5 minutes. His wife was screaming. His children were crying. My father and some other men were standing there. Couldn't do anything, just watched him die. I was there, saw the whole thing, saw the light go out of his eyes, saw him stop breathing, saw death take him. Mother pulled me away, took me home, but I'd seen it, couldn't unsee it, couldn't forget it. That was the first death I witnessed. It wasn't the last. Indians were part of life out there. Cheyenne and Arapaho mostly. They'd been there long before we came. That was their land, their hunting grounds, their home. And then we showed up. White settlers, claiming land, building houses, plowing up the prairie, killing the buffalo. They didn't like it, can't blame 'em. We were taking everything from them. Most encounters were peaceful. They'd come by the house sometimes, ask for food, trade. Father would give them bacon or flour. They'd give us buffalo meat or prairie chicken. We'd nod at each other. They'd leave. No trouble. but there was tension, always tension. You could feel it. The knowledge that this could turn violent at any moment, that they had every right to kill us for being there, that we were the invaders. Father kept the rifle loaded, always, kept it by the door, told Mother if Indians came while he was gone, give them what they want. Don't argue, don't fight, just give it to them and they'll leave. She did. Couple times when Father was away working, Cheyenne men came to the house, 6 or 7 of them, wanted food. Mother gave them everything we had, flour, bacon, dried beans, coffee. They took it and left. Didn't hurt us, didn't threaten us, just took the food and rode away. We went hungry for 2 weeks after that, until Father came back with his wages and we could buy more supplies. But not all encounters were peaceful. There were raids, attacks, homesteaders killed, houses burned, children taken. It happened. Not often, but it happened, and everyone knew someone who'd been affected. The Hendersons lost their oldest son, killed during a raid. He was 14. The Clarks had their house burned, lost everything, moved back east. The Thompson girl was taken, kidnapped during a raid, never seen again. These stories spread, got repeated, got worse with each telling, made people scared, made people angry, made people hate Indians even though most of them never did anything to us. I was scared of them when I was young, scared of their faces painted for war, scared of their horses, scared of their weapons. But I was also curious, wondered what their lives were like, what their children did, what their mothers cooked, if they were hungry like we were, if they were cold in winter like we were. But I never asked, never spoke to them, just watched from the doorway when they came, watched them ride away across the prairie, wondered if they looked back at us and wondered the same things. The cavalry came through sometimes, blue uniforms, rifles, horses. They'd stop at homesteads, ask if there'd been trouble, warn us about Indians in the area, tell us to be careful, to be ready. Father didn't trust them, said they caused more trouble than they prevented, said their presence stirred things up, made Indians angry, made things worse. He was probably right. The cavalry would attack Indian camps, kill men, women, children, didn't matter. And then the Indians would retaliate, attack homesteads, kill settlers, and the cycle continued, violence breeding violence, fear breeding hate. I learned to shoot when I was 12. Father taught me, said I needed to know how, said it might save my life someday. He was right about that. He started with a pistol, showed me how to load it, how to aim, how to squeeze the trigger slowly, not jerk it. Squeeze. I was terrible at first, couldn't hit anything. The gun was heavy. The recoil would knock me back. I'd close my eyes when I fired, miss the target completely, but Father was patient, made me practice, every day for weeks, until I could hit a can at 20 paces. Then 30, then 50, then he taught me the rifle, heavier, longer range, more powerful. I practiced with that too, until I could hit a rabbit at 100 yards, learn to lead a moving target, account for wind, breathe steady. Shooting became something I was good at, something I took pride in. I could outshoot Mary, could outshoot Samuel, could shoot almost as well as Father by the time I was 14. It was a useful skill, meant I could hunt, could bring home meat for the family, rabbit, prairie chicken, antelope if I got lucky, anything that would feed us. I killed my first deer when I was 13, a mule deer buck. I'd been tracking him for an hour. Finally got a clear shot, 150 yards, hit him right behind the shoulder. He ran 20 yards and dropped. I was proud, so proud. Ran back to get father. He came out with the wagon. We field dressed the deer, loaded him up, brought him home. Mother was thrilled, said it was enough meat to last us 2 weeks. We ate venison that night, steaks fried in the pan. It was the best meal I could remember having in years. Fresh meat, plenty of it. Everyone ate until they were full, until they couldn't eat anymore. I'd done that. I'd provided that. 13 years old, and I'd killed a deer and fed my family. That meant something. That mattered. But killing animals for food is different from killing people. That's different entirely. That's something I learned when I was 15. Something I wish I'd never had to learn. It was August. Hot. So hot the air shimmered. Father was away working, left on Monday, wasn't due back until Saturday. It was just Mother and us 5 children. Mary was 18 by then. I was 15. Samuel was 13. William was 10. Ruth was 7. We were working in the garden, weeding, watering, trying to keep the plants alive in the heat. It was late afternoon, maybe 4 o'clock. The sun was starting to drop, but it was still blazing. Samuel saw them first. Riders. 4 of them, coming fast from the east, raising dust. Mother stood up, shaded her eyes, watched them come. They weren't Indians. They were white men, but something about them felt wrong, felt dangerous. "Get in the house," Mother said. Her voice was calm but firm. "All of you, now." We went, ran to the house. Mother grabbed the rifle, loaded it, checked the pistol, made sure it was loaded too. The men rode up, stopped in front of the house, didn't dismount, just sat there on their horses looking at us through the doorway. One of them spoke. "Afternoon, ma'am. Hot day." Mother didn't answer, just stood there holding the rifle, not pointing it at them. Not yet, just holding it. The man smiled, not a friendly smile. "Your husband home?" "No," Mother said. "When's he due back?" "Soon," Mother lied. "Could be any minute." The man looked at the others. They looked at each other, smiled those same not friendly smiles. "We're looking for water for the horses," the man said. "Thought maybe you could spare some." "Creek's a 1/4 mile that way," Mother said. She pointed. "Plenty of water." "That's a long way," the man said. "Hot day like this. Thought maybe you'd have some closer. Save us the trip." "No," Mother said. "Creek's all there is." The men didn't move, just sat there, staring. The horses shifted, tails swishing at flies. Time seemed to stretch out, seconds feeling like minutes. Finally the man spoke again. "That's a nice rifle you got there. Looks new." "It is," Mother said. "Must have cost a fair bit, more than most homesteaders can afford. Your husband must be doing well." "We manage," Mother said. "Got any other valuables?" the man asked. "Money? Jewelry? Anything worth taking with us?" That's when I knew, when we all knew. These weren't just travelers looking for water. These were bandits, outlaws, men who robbed and killed and took what they wanted. There were 4 of them, one of Mother, 5 children, 1 rifle, 1 pistol. The odds weren't good. "I don't have anything," Mother said. "Just trying to raise my children and work this land. You'll have to move along." The man laughed. "I don't think so. I think we'll come inside, have a look around, see what you got worth taking." He started to dismount. The other men did too, started to swing down off their horses. Mother raised the rifle, pointed it at the first man, cocked it. The click was loud in the silence. "You take 1 more step," Mother said, "and I'll shoot you dead. I mean it. I'll kill every one of you if I have to." The man paused, one leg over the saddle, looked at Mother, looked at the rifle, looked back at Mother's face. Whatever he saw there made him believe her, made him know she wasn't bluffing, that she would pull that trigger, would kill him without hesitation. He swung back up into the saddle, sat there, stared at Mother, hate in his eyes, pure hate. "You're making a mistake," he said. "We'll remember this. We'll come back." "Then you better come prepared to die," Mother said, "because that rifle will be loaded and I'll be waiting." The man spit in the dirt, pulled his horse around. The other men did the same. They rode off, fast, headed west, disappeared into the heat shimmer. Mother stood there for a long time, rifle still raised, still pointed where they'd been, making sure they were really gone, making sure they weren't circling back. Finally she lowered the rifle, turned to look at us. Her face was pale, her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. "Mary," she said, "take the rifle. Stand by the door. Anyone comes back, you shoot first and ask questions later." Mary took the rifle, nodded. "Sarah," Mother said, "that's me. Come here." I went to her. She handed me the pistol. "You know how to use this," she said. It wasn't a question. "Yes, ma'am," I said. "If those men come back," Mother said, "if they try to get in this house, you shoot them. You understand? You don't hesitate. You don't warn them. You just shoot." "Yes, ma'am," I said. Mother looked at Samuel, William, Ruth. "You three stay away from the windows. Stay quiet. Do exactly what Mary and Sarah tell you." They nodded, scared, eyes wide, but they obeyed. We waited. All night we waited. Mary at the door with the rifle. Me sitting by the window with the pistol. Mother watching the other window. The younger children huddled in the corner. We didn't light a lamp, didn't make noise, just sat there in the dark, waiting, listening. Every sound was a threat. Every cricket chirp, every coyote howl, every gust of wind. But the men didn't come back that night, didn't come back the next day, or the day after that. Father came home on Saturday like he was supposed to. Mother told him what happened. He went pale, looked at us like he was seeing us for the first time, realizing how close he'd come to losing us. He asked around, described the men. A few weeks later, we heard that 4 outlaws matching that description had robbed a stagecoach, killed the driver, been hunted down by a posse, killed in a shootout. They were dead, all 4 of them. Couldn't hurt us anymore, couldn't hurt anyone anymore. But I'd been ready. I'd been sitting there with that pistol, 15 years old, ready to kill a man. Would have done it too. Would have pulled that trigger if they'd come through that door. Would have shot them dead and not felt a shred of guilt. That's what the West did to you. Made you hard, made you capable of violence, made you willing to kill to protect what was yours, your family, your life, your small piece of ground. That's what people don't understand now. Don't understand what it took to survive out there. The hardness it required, the willingness to do terrible things if you had to. I was just a child, 15 years old, should have been thinking about boys and dresses and parties, should have been innocent, should have been soft, but I wasn't. I was hard, I was ready, I was willing. That's what the Wild West made me. That's what it made all of us. Mary got married when she was 19, a farmer from 20 miles away, good man, hard-working. She moved to his place. I missed her, missed having my sister around, but that's what happened. Girls got married young, started their own families. The cycle continued. I stayed home, helped Mother, raised my younger siblings, did the endless work that needed doing, waited for my own life to start. I married when I was 18, a rancher's son. We met at a church social in town. One of the few times we went to town. He was handsome, polite, had good prospects. Father approved. We married in the spring. I moved to his family's ranch 40 miles away, started my own life, had my own children, 5 of them over the years, raised them the way I'd been raised, hard work, self-reliance, toughness, but I tried to give them something I didn't have, a little softness, a little childhood, a little time to play and be young, because I knew what it was like to not have that, knew what it cost. I'm 90 years old now. I've outlived most everyone from those days. My husband's been gone 20 years. My children are old themselves. I have grandchildren and great-grandchildren who've never known hardship like I knew, never been hungry, never been cold like that, never held a pistol ready to kill. They ask me sometimes what it was like growing up in the Wild West. They've seen the movies, read the books, think it was romantic, exciting, an adventure. I tell them the truth. It wasn't romantic, it wasn't exciting, it was hard, brutal, unforgiving. People died, children died, families lost everything. Most people who came west went back east broken and poor and defeated. We survived. My family survived, but barely. Through luck and stubbornness and Mother's willingness to point a rifle at 4 armed men and dare them to try her. That's the real Wild West, not gunfights at noon, not cowboys and Indians playing games. Real violence, real hunger, real death, real people doing whatever they had to do to survive one more day, one more winter, one more year. I'm proud of surviving, proud of what we endured, proud of the strength it took. But I'm not romantic about it. Don't miss it. Don't wish my grandchildren could experience it. I'm glad they live in a world with enough food, warm houses, clean water, schools, safety. I'm glad they don't have to grow up the way I did. Don't have to be hard at 10 years old. Don't have to be ready to kill at 15. But sometimes I wonder if they're too soft, too sheltered, too unprepared for real hardship if it ever comes. Wonder if they could survive what we survived, do what we did, endure what we endured. I don't know. Hope they never have to find out. That's the thing about the Wild West. It made you strong, but it cost you. Cost you your childhood, your innocence, your softness, made you into something harder than you should have to be. People today, they romanticize it. They see the movies and read the dime novels and think it was all adventure and freedom, think it was exciting, think it was something to aspire to. They don't understand what it really was, what it really cost. I survived it, lived through it, made it to 90 years old. That's longer than most people from those days. Most folks I knew growing up are long dead, died young, died hard, died from things that don't kill people anymore. Influenza, infection from a cut, childbirth, accidents that would be minor now but were fatal then. I made it, beat the odds. Lived long enough to see the world change completely. Lived long enough to see the prairie plowed under and turned into farmland. Lived long enough to see towns where there used to be nothing but grass. Lived long enough to see automobiles and airplanes and electric lights and all the things we couldn't have imagined when I was young. The world got softer, got easier, got safer, and that's good. That's progress. I'm not one of those old fools who says everything was better in the old days. It wasn't. The old days were brutal, were deadly, were something to survive, not something to celebrate. But part of me is still that 15-year-old girl sitting in a dark sod house holding a pistol, waiting, ready, willing to kill if I had to. That girl is still inside me, still there when I close my eyes, still holding that gun, still listening for the sound of horses, still prepared to do whatever needed to be done. That part never really goes away, never really softens, stays with you forever, a hardness in your core that nothing can touch, no amount of time, no amount of comfort, no amount of safety. It's there, permanent, like a scar that never fades. I see it sometimes in other women my age, women who grew up the same way I did, homesteaders' daughters, ranchers' wives, women who survived the Wild West. We recognize it in each other, that hardness, that readiness, that knowledge that we did what we had to do and we'd do it again if we had to. We don't talk about it much, don't need to. We know, we understand. We carry the same weight, the same memories, the same girl inside us who grew up too fast and saw too much and became too hard, too young. My own daughters don't understand it. Can understand it. They grew up different, easier. We had a real house by the time they came along. Wood frame, multiple rooms, glass windows, a well right by the house, a town only 5 miles away, a school they could attend regularly, food on the table every day, clothes that fit, shoes that weren't worn through. They had a childhood, a real childhood. Time to play, time to be children. They didn't have to haul water at 7 years old, didn't have to shoot a rifle at 12, didn't have to be ready to kill at 15. I made sure of that, made sure they had what I didn't have, what Mary and I never got, that softness, that innocence, that chance to be young. But sometimes I wonder if I did them a disservice. If I made them too soft, too unprepared, too reliant on the world staying safe and easy and comfortable. Because the world doesn't always stay that way. History doesn't move in one direction. Things can get hard again, can get dangerous again, can require that hardness again. And I don't know if they have it. Don't know if they could do what I did, what Mother did, what Mary did, what all the women I knew did. Don't know if they could make the hard choices, do the hard things, survive the hard times. I hope they never have to. Hope the world stays soft for them. Hope they live their whole lives never knowing what it's like to be truly hungry, truly cold, truly in danger. Hope they die old and comfortable, never having had to point a gun at another human being, never having had to choose between their safety and their morals, never having had to become hard. But I don't know, can't know. History has a way of surprising you, of taking away the comfort you thought was permanent, of demanding hardness from people who thought they'd never need it. That's what the Wild West gave me: strength, toughness, survival, the ability to endure anything, the willingness to do anything, the knowledge that I could face death and not blink, could face violence and meet it with violence, could protect what was mine no matter the cost. It's a terrible gift, a burden as much as a blessing, because once you have that hardness, you can't get rid of it. Can't go back to being soft, can't unknow what you know, can't unsee what you've seen, can't undo what you've done. And that's what it took from me. Childhood, innocence, the chance to be soft, the chance to be the kind of woman who faints at the sight of blood, who screams at danger, who depends on men to protect her, who believes the world is fundamentally good and safe and kind. I never got to be that woman. Never got to believe those things. Never got to be soft enough to break. Because I'd already been hardened. Already been shaped by fire and hunger and cold and violence into something that couldn't break, wouldn't break, refused to break. Sometimes I envy the women who got to be soft, who got to be protected, who got to live their whole lives never having to be hard, never having to make impossible choices, never having to become something other than what a woman is supposed to be. But then I remember those 4 men on horses, remember Mother standing there with that rifle, remember myself with that pistol, remember being ready, remember being willing, remember surviving, and I'm proud of that girl, proud of what she did, proud of what she became, proud that when the moment came, she didn't hesitate, didn't fail, didn't break. She was 15 years old, and she was ready to kill to protect her family. That's not something every person can do, not something every person should have to do. But when it's required, when it's necessary, when it's the difference between living and dying, you do it. And you carry it forever. Was it worth it? I don't know. It was what it was. We didn't have a choice. The West wasn't something you chose. It was something that happened to you, something you survived or didn't. That was all there was. No middle ground, no partial victory. You made it or you didn't. I made it. Survived childhood, survived hunger, survived cold, survived violence, survived childbirth 5 times, survived losing 2 of those children to fever, survived losing my husband, survived wars and depressions and droughts and everything else the world threw at me. I'm still here, still standing, still hard, still that girl with a pistol somewhere deep inside, still ready if I need to be, still capable of doing what needs to be done. That's what 90 years of living looks like. That's what surviving the Wild West made me into. Not a sweet old grandmother who bakes pies and tells gentle stories. A hard old woman who survived hell and came out the other side still breathing, still fighting, still refusing to break. My great-grandchildren look at me sometimes, and I can see the question in their eyes. What was it like, really like? They've heard the sanitized stories, the safe ones, the ones about hard work and simple living and family togetherness. They've heard about hauling water and making soap and going to school in a 1-room building. But they haven't heard the rest, haven't heard about the hunger that made your stomach cramp, the cold that made you wonder if you'd wake up in the morning, the fear that sat in your chest like a stone when strangers approached, the readiness to kill that became as natural as breathing. I don't tell them those stories. Don't want to burden them with that knowledge. Don't want to make them afraid. Don't want to steal their innocence the way mine was stolen. But sometimes I want to grab them by the shoulders and tell them the truth. Tell them what the world is really like when the veneer of civilization gets stripped away. Tell them what human beings are really capable of. Both the terrible things and the strong things, the violence and the endurance, the cruelty and the survival. Want to tell them that inside every person is the capacity for hardness, for violence, for doing whatever needs to be done. That it's not about being good or bad, it's about being alive, about choosing to keep living no matter what it costs. But I don't tell them. Just smile and nod and let them think the world is safe. Let them be soft. Let them have what I didn't have, and I carry it alone. This weight, this knowledge, this hardness that never softens. Carry it the way I've carried it for 75 years, since that night when I was 15 and held a pistol and waited in the dark for men who might come to kill us. I survived, and I'm still here, still remembering, still carrying that 15-year-old girl inside me, still seeing her face in the mirror sometimes when I look at my reflection. Not the 90-year-old woman with white hair and wrinkled skin. The girl, the hard girl with the gun and the steady hands and the willingness to pull the trigger. Still hard, still ready, still unbroken. That's my story. That's what it meant to grow up in the Wild West. Not the story they tell in books, not the romantic version with noble cowboys and thrilling adventures. The real story, the hard story, the true story of what it cost to survive out there, what it took from you, what it made you into. It made you strong, but it made you hard. And once you're hard like that, you stay hard for the rest of your life. No matter how much time passes, no matter how soft the world becomes around you, you stay hard because you can't go back, can't unknow what you know, can't become soft again. And I'll carry it with me until the day I die. Carry that, girl. Carry that hardness. Carry that readiness. Carry the knowledge that when the moment came, I didn't fail, didn't break, did what needed to be done. That's the legacy of the Wild West, not the cattle drives and the gold rushes and the railroad building, the hardness, the survival, the willingness to endure anything, to do anything, to become anything necessary to stay alive. And I'm one of the last ones who remembers, one of the last ones who lived it, who survived it, who carries it inside like a stone that never dissolves, never softens, never goes away. When I die, that knowledge dies with me, that understanding of what it really was, what it really cost, what it really took to survive out there when the world was hard and dangerous and unforgiving. My grandchildren will remember me as a sweet old woman. My great-grandchildren won't remember me at all. The truth will die. The hardness will die. The real story will be forgotten. And maybe that's for the best. Maybe the world doesn't need to remember how hard it used to be, how brutal, how unforgiving. Maybe it's better to let it fade into myth and legend and romantic stories that don't capture the truth. But I'll remember. Until my last breath, I'll remember. Remember being that girl. Remember holding that gun. Remember being ready. Remember surviving. And when I close my eyes for the last time, that's what I'll see. Not the comfortable life I built afterward. Not my husband or my children or my grandchildren. That girl, that hard girl in the dark house with the pistol in her hands and the willingness to kill in her heart. That's who I really am. That's who the Wild West made me, and that's who I'll die as. Hard, unbroken, a survivor. That's my story, the real story, the true story, and I'm taking it with me to my grave.